خلاص؟ خديني يا حبيبتي، والله بدي اخذك بس مش بايدي هلا.
We have little information about the time Anne spent in Auschwitz-Birkenau. The Franks were housed in Women's Block 29. On the 28th of October, Anne and Margot were placed on another train and transferred to Bergen-Belsen. And Anne would never see her mother again.
تقول لي ما تسيبنيش يا ماما، انا جعانه، انا موجوعه يا ماما. قلت لها انت وين يا هند مصابه؟ قالت لي انا مصابه في ايدي وفي ظهري وفي رجلي.
By this time, the law in Germany had undergone a radical change. Jews were presented as a parasitic threat to German society.
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם.
By the 30th of January 1939, Hitler's rhetoric was pointing directly to the future genocide of Europe's Jews.
Gaza will become an area where people cannot live.
זהו מאבק, כפי שנאמר כאן, מאבק בין בני האור לבני החושך.
And the sight of German soldiers soon became commonplace. Anne had been scared during the invasion.
قريب كتير.
Anne was escorted downstairs with the others, hustled into the van and taken to the station. There they were all put on a train for Germany. Tragically, it was the very last convoy of Jews to leave Amsterdam.
On the 2nd of September, the Franks were called forward to board a train. They departed Westerbork the following day. Otto Frank recalled how Anne gazed out of the train window, after which the train ground to its last stop, Auschwitz.
يا رب تحمينا. يا رب تحمينا.
2 weeks into the search, a mother says goodbye to her 6-year-old daughter, Hind Rajab.
British troops arrived at Bergen-Belsen. Anne and Margot were not found. Both had died, probably from typhus, just days before their liberators arrived. In most biographies, childhood is but a single chapter in a life full of other experiences and events. This biography, in contrast, covers only 15 years.
I want the whole world to know that I'm a human being. At the end, I am not pen on paper. I'm not anonymous. I'm a human being created by God.
You know, the reason the world remembers Anne Frank is not because she's the only Jewish child who suffered during the Holocaust, because so many countless nameless Jewish kids during the Holocaust died horribly. But the difference with Anne is that she left behind a diary. And similarly for Hind Rajab, because Hind Rajab is obviously not the only Palestinian child who died. Officially now it's 17,000 kids, but it's much more. When all is said and done, when the dust settles, and they're going to find kids under the rubble, it's going to be God knows how many. But why do we know Hind Rajab? Because she too left something behind, the phone call. And for me, that's what's similar about Hind and Anne, is that they represent countless other children whose stories we'll never know. In this video, I'm going to get into the harrowing details of Hind Rajab's final moments, which were captured during that phone call, and the countless parallels between her agony and that of Anne Frank. But there are also similarities in the context surrounding the two girls. In 1929, when Anne was just 4 months old, there was the Wall Street crash, which plunged the world into crisis. Unemployment, unrest, and collapse of social services in Germany followed. Many Europeans turned to the age-old scapegoat to blame for the mess, the Jews. When Anne was just 1 year old, Mein Kampf was republished, which included passages such as, "No nation can rid itself of Jews except by the sword." Basically, the Nazi Party was growing in popularity as Anne was growing up. Similarly, in Hind Rajab's story, in her 6 years of life, the rise of the fascist right in Israel was meteoric. If you take Ben-Gvir, who literally went from extremist settler to Israel's national security minister in less than 4 years. Just 4 years ago, when Hind was only 2, in the March 2020 elections, his party was shunned by other right-wingers and managed only 0.42% of the total votes. Today, Ben-Gvir is part of the political elite, so those are the backdrops in the girls' lives. 90 years apart, but frighteningly similar in racism and fascism.
The specifics are different, but the goal is the same: erasure. We celebrate our religion, our nation, our superiority, by negating and erasing yours.
Now let's get to the specifics of Hind Rajab's story.